Guru Nation, look, lots, and I mean lots of things going on at the clinical research site level these days. And that means, yeah, a lot of changes, but a lot of opportunities. And this is where I really think we are in a tale of two markets. Because we have like the slowdowns at the sponsors and CROs as far as hiring. But I personally am not seeing a slowdown as far as studies that are coming out. And I know it's anecdotal, but a couple of my colleagues telling me similar things. Like I think Brad mentioned it on a live stream that they're getting more studies than ever. So a lot of activity at the site level still. And the problem with sites is that a lot of sites are not prepared to handle all of this workload. And so there's like a bottleneck there, and there are companies. I mean, there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening at the site level. IQVIA just last year paid a lot of money, a couple $100 million. I can't remember the exact number for a site network, like 30 sites. And so they're trying to there's companies trying to improve this bottleneck, right? And because whenever there's problems, there's opportunities. But if you're a job seeker, or if you're a site owner, or you're someone that works at a site, or someone that wants to work at a site, or someone that just got laid off, the sites are the place to go. But let me give you the lay of the land on this. This is less motivational and more like tactical. Sites right now are at the crossroads of, do we continue to stay on paper, or do we switch to eSource? And it's like 50-50 right now on who's on paper and who's on eSource. Of any kind of eSource vendor. We use Creo. They're a proud sponsor of my YouTube channel and the podcast. I love it because it has everything rolled into one that I need, and you only pay what you use. But there's a lot of fragmentation when it comes to just, do we use the technology or not? Do we use e-consent or not? Do we use eSource or not? Do we use e-signatures or not? Do we have e-delegation of authorities log or not? There's a lot of variation amongst the sites. And that's just on the operations side. Then there's the whole aspect of recruitment. How do we recruit patients? Do we run our own ads? Do we hire an agency? Do we start our own podcast like we did at Yuma Clinical Trials? Well, it's not really a podcast. It's a YouTube show and an Instagram. And also Facebook. So it kind of goes on those three platforms. There's a lot of disconnect and variability amongst sites. There's no standardization. And that's one of the industry's biggest complaints, is there is no standardization. I'm not one to really advocate for standardization. First of all, I don't think it'll ever happen. There's just way too many sites and way too many vendors. And I actually think a little bit of the chaos is good, because it brings opportunity for entrepreneurs, for job seekers, even for savvy CROs, sponsors, and tech vendors. So figuring out, forget about industry-wide, just figure out at your local level, in your area, especially if you're a job seeker, who the sites are, especially the small ones. The big ones already probably have this figured out, or even if they don't, like a lot of academic medical centers, they're not going to change. They're way too big, way too bureaucratic to make changes. But there are a bunch of sites, mainly the ones that came to SOS conference, saveoursites.com. Check us out 2025 in Oklahoma City. Saveoursites.com. A lot of the sites there are looking for ways to innovate, and they definitely need help. And a lot of times that help is in the form of a consultant that's a freelancer. Hey, I've been a CRA for decades, or I've been a CTM for decades. I can help you at your site do this. I can help you standardize your eSource process. I can help you create eSource. I can help you figure out how you can improve whatever aspect of the operations or the marketing or the biz dev, meaning getting studies, getting new physicians. There's a lot of opportunities at the local level. And these are some of the ones that I'm highlighting. So it's getting more patients, getting more studies, getting more clinicians, and doing a better job at the studies you currently have, meaning doing a better job of operating, getting more profitable, either getting more profitable or increasing the top line. There's a lot of sites like Yuma Clinical Trials. We're already very profitable. I'm not looking to get more profitable. I'm actually willing to trade some profitability for growth. So I think we're running at like a 70% profit margin. I'm okay with 60 if that means we can double or triple our top line revenue. And that's the strategy that me and my business partners are taking. So there's a lot of sites like that too. There's a lot of freedom at the site level to experiment and to play around with different methods and ways of improving the business overall on these 4 verticals: getting more patients, getting more studies, getting more clinicians, and doing a better job of operating, being more efficient. Because when you're more efficient, you can take on more studies. If you go from one coordinator can handle 3 or 4 studies as the lead CRC to one coordinator can handle 5 studies as the lead CRC, you can grow without making additional hires by just improving your processes. And sometimes that means getting e-source, or it could mean anything. So if you're someone looking for opportunities because of the downturn in the economy at the CRO and sponsor level, look no further than the sites. Figure out the pain points. The pain points are your friends. Stop complaining about there's no opportunities. Stop complaining about the industry is not standardized. I wish it was standardized. You're not going to be able to fix that on your own. That's like an industry-wide thing. The FDA is going to need to pass guidance on that. There's going to have to be real money entering the space to actually make an impact on that. But you can make a tremendous impact at your local site level by helping out a site or 2 or 3. That's the way I see it. We have a student coming in today all the way from Boston. You'll see him on the vlog later. He's from the CRA Academy. I'm going to try to help him get a job in Boston as a coordinator. And I'm going to teach him these strategies today. So stay tuned for that video. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Good luck. Think about problems as opportunities. Bye-bye.